So while I'm in a good mood, kind of getting used to myself speaking into the void, I want to talk about one of the worst dating mistakes I ever made. Not to sound dramatic, because everyone, makes mistakes with dating, and that's how we learn. So I wanted to make this video um, about my experience dating a so-called male feminist. And, it's kind of weird because I am really kind of over him, but my bank account isn't over him. You know, like on paper, the 50-50 relationship would be nice and fine, but in practice, I dated a succubus for 3 years who just, you know, not not to say that he just liked to spend my money, which he did, said it was our money and pressured me into getting a joint bank account and then pressured me into putting more money into the joint account. And that's only the beginning. It really is just the beginning of my gigolo. Juggalo or gigolo? My gigolo adventures. And I have a few, so sit back and watch and enjoy. But it was, with this guy, it was particularly interesting because everything in his life, for how he ran his life and what he believed in and the kind of porn he watched, was misogynistic. Everything about him was misogyny, probably his own mommy issues or whatever, that I filled that void. Or and I guess I have my mom to blame for this because she didn't really set a good example. She was more for like she liked to thrift shop for, things, but she also liked to thrift shop with men. She enjoyed a good fixer-upper. And I guess that was just kind of ingrained in my brain, like that's how a relationship works, even though it doesn't. But I'm kind of abandoning feminism, and I'm not saying we should go back in time a few years to before women had rights or anything. But in day-to-day life, saying that I'm a feminist around other living people and not on the internet has never gotten me anything except for, scam artists and pickup artists and people trying to be something they're not. So they'll just pipe up about abortion rights, abortion rights. And yeah, I'm a woman and I have what it takes to create an abortion. But I've kind of learned over time and figured out that I'll probably never need an abortion in my life. And it's not because I'm special. It's just because I'm, basically have the base amount of responsibility. And I just don't really feel particularly one way or the other anymore about advocating for that shit. I mean, yeah, it's rude to protest in front of an abortion clinic, but I won't have to deal with that because I won't get one. The problem with the 50-50 relationship is that I end up with less than what I started. And in this case, because of my ex, right, I'm in a shitload of debt because he wanted to use my student loan money to go on vacation. And I know he blamed on me and like, no one could force me to do that or whatever, but yeah, being around somebody really does influence you. And their bad decisions influence you. And it's kind of like a no duh thing, but I had to learn for myself, of course. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not saying that a 50-50 relationship couldn't work out, but I don't know. The way I see it is, if I can take care of myself, why would I want to put money in so that a guy can date me? That's kind of ridiculous because I'm valuable and I can take care of myself and I don't need a man to take care of me. So why should I take care of him? And that's the messed up thing about, I guess, getting out of a relationship, is realizing, wow, I am better off for being single. But I mean, this guy, man, he was a charity case, and that's kind of how it was. Um, soy boy, feminist, weakling, essentially, and I felt bad for him. Or, he weaseled his way into a relationship with me, and I didn't want to be alone. I realize now that that's a mistake, but, it is what it is. And I used to be so naive when it came to relationships, and I'm not anymore. And it's good news for me because I realized kind of how valuable I am in that I can take care of myself. And I've been getting a lot of job offers recently because I finally have the experience that people are looking for. And yeah, I've gotten to the point where I have either dated rich guys or blew them off because they still weren't good enough for me. And that's a good feeling. Well, what is my point? Don't date losers. But that's the thing. It's not novel to me anymore. And this last summer, I was on Tinder, and that's like a floodgate of losers. But what else was I gonna do? The bars were closed because of COVID. Everything was closed. So, I went on Tinder, and you will not believe how many losers are on there that are honest about being losers, and they're just like, yeah, I'm a loser, suck my dick anyway. And it's like, well, no. I had 3 guys in a row. That's one of the last times I uninstalled Tinder. Was that 3 guys in a row tried to date me, but they didn't even have cars. And I'm like, what? I have to chauffeur your ass around so that you get to like make awkward passes at me? No. But yeah, I don't really think I've ever met anyone of value on Tinder. I met my ex on Tinder, and that probably says something about it. What are you gonna do? It's the pandemic. It really kind of sucks to be single during the pandemic. Cause whatever guys I find online are automatically gonna have the advantage because I can't, they can't take me out and show me a good time or whatever, so I know that they're at least responsible enough to save money and generous enough to not be a dick, Because the stingy assholes who don't do that, they're bad for other reasons. But yeah, am I over it? Well, I really want to be, but my bank account is not. And the reason why I owe all this money is because, presumably like couples support each other and it's not just like a roommate thing with sex involved, and that's kind of what my relationship was, and I'm kind of ashamed of it, but I mean, live and learn. But anyway, I was studying to get my degree. I was almost done, but I messed up with the well, didn't really mess up. I messed up scheduling my classes, and I didn't have another full quarter left. I only had 2 classes left. And I just knew in my gut that there's no way this guy would support me for a quarter. And that's really messed up to say that, because it's awful. And why wouldn't you want your partner to get a degree? But I guess, he was, in a way, he was threatened by it and didn't want to see me succeed and wanted to keep me down. And there are a lot of people like that out there, but that's what the block button is for. Kind of my best friend these days, the option to block people. But anyway, he had this great idea. I should just sign up for whatever bullshit classes I could find so that we could go on another vacation, because I treated him to a vacation. Like, well, we split it I paid for half, he paid for half. But yeah, he just weaseled his way and convinced me to bought the plane tickets in front of me and convinced me, like, now it's your turn to pay for this. And I went in the first day to these bullshit classes for freshmen, and I felt really out of place and decided this is bullshit. So I dropped my classes, decided to work full time. No one would hire me. And my relationship was degrading because it wasn't working in a lot of reasons. Like the base reasons, the primal reasons that people stay in a relationship wasn't even working that way. So everything went to shit all at once, but I have not forgiven him, and I do blame him because my life was just better before I met him. Yeah, so hopefully I get this debt paid off. It sucks. But it is what it is. So-called feminist relationships. That's another thing about feminism, is I've never really been discriminated against in the workplace. Maybe once I had a creepy boss, and that didn't last. Part of the reason why I end up owing all this money. But the more skills I have, the more I realize that that's the way that you don't get harassed, is by having skills and being valuable and being professional. I really haven't experienced that. Like, nobody would dare do that because I can just go work somewhere else at this point. But yeah, I mean, those are the two big ones, are equality in the workplace and abortion. But the pickup line for a male feminist isn't a very good one. It's sort of like, I'll advocate for women's rights even though you're not facing any discrimination. I'll scream at the top of my lungs for abortion rights on Facebook. And in return, you can pay me to have the privilege to have sex with you. That's kind of like, what? Did I need that help? And that's some expensive, SJW services, honestly. At that point, if there were male prostitutes, I should have just done that instead. And that's how I feel about it.